Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Memorial Day. Memorial Day 2019. We're all going to have fun, going on picnics, hanging out with family and friends, enjoying the freedom that we have in the United States of America, including the right to keep and bear arms, to have a generally prosperous life, to have time with loved ones, family, and just to simply be free individuals, freedom of speech, all of the things that we hold dear. Now, rewind the clock back 80 years ago. 80 years ago, the Third Reich was going strong. Nazism was prolific in Germany. They were starting to, in fact, take over much of Europe. Nazism, the National German Workers' Socialist Party, right? Socialists, Nazis. They were starting to thrive. They were starting to take over many nations, starting to condemn many people, and ultimately killing many people, probably 11 million or more. A couple years later, the Japanese, in December of 1941, attacked Pearl Harbor. They brought the fight to the United States of America and killed many of our brave servicemen when they were getting out of church. So what did we do? Well, the United States and others got involved in World War II. And we took up arms. People left their homes, left their families, and they went into battle to fight evil, to fight fascism, Nazism, the Emperor of Japan. Many of them came home. Many of them ended up living successful, prosperous lives. Many of our loved ones, grandparents, great aunts, great uncles. Unfortunately, not too many of them around anymore because that was a long time ago. But many of them never returned home. They died. Why did they die? Well, they didn't die in vain. They died to end the Nazis, to end fascism, to stop socialism, to keep it from spreading throughout the whole world and coming to the United States of America. They took up arms. They fought bravely. Many of them survived. Many of them died. And that's what tomorrow is for. Memorial Day is to remember the fallen, people who gave their lives for our country in service, men and women alike. And I think it's important that we celebrate tomorrow and we have a good time and we hang out with our friends and our family and our loved ones, because we can't just sit and constantly grieve. But I do think it's important that we remember why these wars were fought and the things that our country has always been against. And lately it seems there's a new call for socialism in the United States of America. And many of our brave souls who are alive in our memories and will never be dead there, but they lost their lives to fight socialism, fascism, communism, evil ways of thinking, where ultimately what happens is they take away the citizens' rights, including, usually the first they go for is the right to keep and bear arms. Then they go for your speech. And then if you still don't follow the rules, if you still don't conform to their way of thinking, ultimately, it usually involves in mass death. Just look at the statistics. And instead of just celebrating this Memorial Day, which we should do, we need to remember that we need to stay vigilant. That starting off in 1776, that's where we had our first veterans, if you will. That's where the first people that we should celebrate Memorial Day for in this country died and lost their life. This continued on and on, many different wars. And we need to remember that they died fighting tyrannical governments, overreaching governments that were trying to take our property, take our rights, and ultimately take our life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And it's important that today that we still keep our arms, that we do not give in to this idea that America should be a socialist country. Many, many brave men and women lost their lives fighting for freedom, including the Bill of Rights and the freedom of speech and the right to keep and bear arms. So, on Memorial Day, it's a reminder that, yes, many people lost their lives, but we need to remember what they lost their lives for, and we need to make sure, it's our duty as American citizens to make sure they did not lose their lives in vain. They didn't lose their lives fighting socialism to then have this country turn into a socialist country itself. Now, there's many candidates running on the platform of socialism, and they're promising that if they're elected, they will take away our right to keep and bear arms. These are things that were taken away from people under the Third Reich. Now, many people are confused, or they're just that evil and think that that's what they want for the United States of America. I don't. I hope to God that many of you don't agree with that too. We don't want socialism in the United States of America. And I guarantee you, neither the people, the brave souls that died for our country, to keep us free, to preserve our right to keep and bear, to preserve our right to just generally feel safe at home, to be able to raise a family, live a somewhat prosperous life, enjoy the freedoms that have been endowed by our Creator, that are preserved in a textual document that says the government needs to keep its hands off. But ultimately, we've had to go to war in the past and fight to keep other countries from infringing upon the rights of their people or coming to America to infringe on our rights. So we need to not sit back idly and just let these people come into power that are promoting socialism, which socialism is another form of communism. It's all the same thing in the end. And I just want us to remember what we fought in the past, what many of our, again, brave men and women that died for our country, what they did die for. They didn't just die just to get a paycheck. In fact, being in the military is often one of the lowest paid jobs. No, they died to keep the United States of America what it is today, and now it's our job. Not only the brave men and women that are currently serving, that are active duty. Yes, it's obviously your job too, but it's also our job as the citizens to have their back and to have our own back. And we need to call our politicians. Let them know we're holding you accountable. We need to get to the ballot box and vote. We need to make it where it's not only Moms Demand Action that go out there and have their parades and their big, festivals or whatever they want to call it, celebrating that they're going to take our guns, their protests, their whatever. We need to be right in the thick of it, guys. We need to stand up and let them know that yes, we will keep and bear arms and we will honor the fallen. And that's why we celebrate Memorial Day. And I hope everyone has a good time, but just remember what this is all about and why a lot of people died. And let's keep the American tradition alive. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Alright, thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one.